Welcome back to part 3. Okay, now in this exercise, for the last two exercises, we have been seeing, so we did a lot of exercises, a lot of demos on a single host. Yeah, this is on this machine. Now, in this session, I'm going to add one more EC2 instance, and I'm going to try to I mean, rather telling you theoretically, let me show you something practical what I'm trying to achieve. Yeah, I'm going to explain something on Docker Swarm. Yeah, so if you go to this Google, if you type Docker Swarm, you will understand. Just have a read through of this, understand this, then you can see my practical, or just see my practical, just see what exactly, how exactly it is getting done, so that you will come to know what is the use case of it. Yeah, great. Now for that, I want one machine is already there, and I'm going to add another machine, launch instance. Okay, so I'm just mentioning like Kubernetes. Okay, series machine 2, something like this. Okay, and then Amazon Linux 2 and t2.micro. I don't want anything, and edit, and I'm gonna go for default VPC, and then subnet, I don't want any preference. Enable, select existing security group. I'm going to choose my website SG, and okay, I don't want anything else. Just click on launch instance. The instance will be launched. Now what I'm going to do here is okay, I'm going to run one application which is there in GitHub actually. So this is the application which I'm going to, it's just a voting app. It's just a, we can use it. It's just publicly available. If you go here, so example, and so this is what we're gonna do, docker compose.yaml file. So here, this is a file which we will discuss about it, and what exactly it is happening you will come to know. So don't worry on these parts. Great. So let's go ahead and see the instances. Okay, so I'm gonna make it like this: Kubernetes series machine 2, machines 1, sorry, machines 1. So machines 1 and machine 2. Okay, so it is getting initializing. Great. Now I'm gonna connect to machine 1 now. Click on connect. Perfect. So machine 1 is getting connected. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to execute a couple of commands here, guys. Okay, the first thing is you have to type Docker Swarm. Okay, yeah. Now what exactly this happens is, Docker Swarm is nothing but it will group a couple of physical machines into a Docker network, so that you can deploy your application and you can spread your application into a different physical host machine. For that, you need to form a network. You have to do a Docker Swarm, and for that there is a command called, see this, initialize swarm. Okay, for that, Docker space swarm space init, and there is something called advertise address. Okay, TISE-ADDR, advertise-address, and then dollar, and then you have to type host name -I. Okay, so if you do this, okay, now you are getting this thing. Okay, what it says is, let me open in okay, so what exactly this says is, see, copy, see this. You run this command and it says swarm is initialized and the current node is this one, it is a manager. Okay, so wherever you're running this Docker Swarm init, that is a manager. Manager means who manages. Okay, and to add a worker to this swarm, so there are two guys right now. One is a manager and the other one is a worker. Manager is the one which we have initialized the swarm. So this guy is a manager right now, and now it says to add a worker to the swarm, run the following command. Now if you remember, we already created another instance called machine 2. Now we're gonna run this command, docker swarm join -token, the entire command. Okay, When you run this command, what happens is the other machine will join this network as a worker. Okay, so that is what we are going to do this here. Okay, and what is this IP? This IP is nothing but the current manager IP, and this is a port which the swarm is getting connected. So what I'll do here is I will go to instances. I'm going to machine 2. I'm going to click on connect, click on connect. Okay, so I'm just doing an update here. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this command. Yeah, so for that, let me go to view. I don't want to wrap here, so I'll unwrap it. Okay, cool. Now if you scroll right, okay, perfect. Control C, and then come back and then right click and then paste as plain text and then hit enter. Okay, first of all, this is a new machine which we have launched. We did not install the Docker yet. Sudo yum install docker-y. Okay, cool. Now if you run this command again, docker swarm, okay, is the docker daemon running? Yes, we need to check systemctl status docker. No, so you have to sudo systemctl start docker. Now if you right click and then paste as plain text, okay, again it just give you the permission error. Why? Because sudo user mod -a-g, and then you have to add docker then ec2-user, if you remember this. And then in order to make an effort, you have to come out and then you have to relog in again to the same machine, Kubernetes machine 2. Click on connect. See guys, this is a machine 1 and this is a machine 2. Okay, remember that. Now if you right click and then paste as plain text and then if you hit enter, let's see what happens now. Okay, if you see, it just says the attempt to join the swarm will continue in the background. Use the docker info command to see the current swarm status of your node. Okay, so it's not working. Timeout was reached before node joined. So something problem. So we need to find out what is this problem. One thing is this is maybe with respect to the AWS. So there is something called 2377 port which we are going to communicate. So what I would do here is just want to make sure here, if you go to security of the Kubernetes service machine 2, if you go to this, it just agrees only the 22 port. Yeah, so I'm going to my website SG and then I'm going to click on edit inbound rules. Okay, and I'm going to add just for this guys, just for this demo or training, I just want to open all the traffic TCP port from 0 to 65535 port. Yeah, now I want to execute the same command. Okay, this node is already part of SOM. Okay, so now this is already added now. Okay, now how do you see whether it is added? If you go to the Kubernetes service machine part, docker node ls. Okay, so you're getting active and then leader. Okay, but you need to get one more because the current version which is running right now, I mean the current one is host name is this one, docker node ls. Let me try again. Okay, this node is already part of swarm. Use docker swarm. Okay, let's try docker swarm leave. Okay, node left the swarm. I want to add it again, so copy and then right, and then paste as plain text. Okay, this node joined the swarm as a worker, which is good. Now going back to the machine one, now if you type docker node ls, okay, see this? Now you got two host machines, yeah? So the first one is the current one, 170, which is a leader, which is a manager, yeah? And the second one, which is nothing is there, which means it is a worker. Okay, so we have formed a network, and we have initialized the swarm, and we have added a worker also in this network, yeah, which is good. Now the next thing is I'm in the machine one now. Okay, now I have to clone this app, okay, the example voting app. Okay, so I'll just go and then copy, yeah, and then come back here in the machine one. Then you just type git space clone space and then paste as plain text, and then you just type enter. Okay, git is not working, so you have to install git sudo yum install git. Yep. So now just clone the git app. Now if you type ls-lrt, you will get example voting app is there. So cd space, if you type example ls-lrt. Okay, cool. Now I want to show you a couple of things here. Okay, the first thing is there is something called docker stack.yaml. Yeah, so if you see docker cat space docker hyphen stack.yml. Okay, I want to copy this entire thing so you will understand what is inside this. Okay, so copy, open a notepad plus plus. Yeah, okay, control N. Okay, now what do you mean by stack? Okay, you need to understand stack means group of services. Remember this, and this is a YAML file. I'm not here to talk about YAML file, but I just want to give you a structure of this. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are creating a stack file. Inside the stack, we are going to mention a group of services that will be deployed together. Okay, so there will be multiple container application, container will get created. So each individual service, actually it's made up of one or more containers. We call it as a task. So if I say one task means one container. Okay, so stack will have list of services, and then inside the services we'll have different tasks or number of tasks. So I call it as one stack is equal to one container, something like that. Okay, now if you see this one, okay, this is a docker stack.yaml. Inside this I've mentioned services. Now what are all the services we have? Redis 1, db2, vote 3, 4 result, 5 worker, and 6 visualizer. That's it. Now you don't need to go deep about what is this. No, you forget about that. What we are doing is we are just creating 6 services. Now let's take Redis. Inside Redis we are using an image called Redis Alpine. Okay, if you go here, Redis :alpine, if you go to Docker Hub, yeah, if you go to Docker Hub here, so if you type Redis here, then if you go to the tabs Redis, then if you go to the tags, then if you type alpine, see, so it uses this one. Okay, Redis Alpine it uses. And then forget about networks, we'll talk about this. And then deploy. Okay, so how many containers you want? Replicas, only one container, or I will say one task. Okay, don't forget about these things, leave it. And db is another service. Image, we are using a base image as Postgres 9.4. so same as usual, if you come here, if you search for Postgres, postgres, enter, and then Postgres, and what is the tag name? 9.4, right? So if you type 9.4, you should get something 9.4. Yeah, see, 9.4, you got it. Okay, so likewise, scroll down. Okay, for DB deploy, yeah, this is in a backend one. Okay, cool. And scroll down, vote again, we are using some other image, and these are all the ports. And deploy, we got two replicas, two containers would be running for two tasks. I can say two tasks or two containers or two replicas, anything you can say. Okay, and result is another service, and this is a port mapping, and replicas are only one, and worker we have only one, and visualizer, so we have ports, it's running on 8080. Yeah, so networks we have backend and front end, and volumes, there is something called db-data which is getting created. So total we have 6 services which is getting created, guys. Now we're gonna deploy the stack. So how do you deploy the stack? That is what the next thing is. So I am in my machine 1, right? So if you see this is a machine 1. Now for that, docker space, there is a command called stack deploy, docker stack deploy, and then you have to give this value -- compose file, compose -file is equal to, and I'm going to give this file name. Okay, so docker -stack.yaml. Okay, enter, and then here I'm going to give a stack name. Okay, so okay, before that, if you type docker stack ls, you don't have any stack created yet. Now we're going to create a stack. So docker stack deploy -compose -file is equal to docker -stack.yaml, and then I'm going to give a name, voting -stack. Enter. Now see what is happening. It's creating some network, it's creating some service. How many services it's created? 1 2 3 4 5 6 services we created, because we have seen those things. Now if you type docker stack ls, see this, you're getting voting underscore stack is the name which I created. 6 services are running, and it is in swarm mode. Okay, now the next thing is, say for example, you want to see a lot of details on each services within the stack. Okay, so what will you do? You can do docker stack, then services, okay, then voting, and your stack name, voting underscore stack. Now see this, inside this what happens? Okay, one service. Okay, how many replicas are running? These many things, see. And if you see one bar 1 means one replica I have mentioned and one replica is running. But here if you see one replica I have mentioned, 0 is running. But here if you see voting 1, 2 replicas I have mentioned, only 2 replicas are running. So this will take some time. So what I'll do here is, if you come back again, if you see everything, it was 0, but now it became 1. So you need to give it some time because it's still initializing. Yeah, now it's up and running. Now everything is as usual. Okay, so the output is similar. Okay, and maybe for you the IDs will be different. Whatever IDs here, that will be different, but rest of the things, if you see, it's all good. Okay, now if I want to see a specific specific service, so what I'll do is docker service ps. Okay, docker service ps, and then you want this one, so copy this and then paste it here. So if you hit enter, see this, for this one, what it says, for this one already 2 containers are running, which means 2 replicas are running, which means 2 tasks are running. Now these 2 things, where it is running, that is what you can see. See this, one is running on 170, which is running on this machine, and the other one is running on 9321, which is nothing but this one. See, 9321. Okay, if you type docker ps, see this voting thing is running here. Okay, so this is what you can see which service is running where. So always remember, stack is a list of services, and inside the services you can mention the list of tasks. Okay, now say for example this particular voting service, right, voting service, you have how many replicas? 2. Now you want to increase it to 5. Now how can you do that? It's so easy. Docker service, yeah, scale, and you mention voting underscore stack underscore vote. I mean, I want to talk about this. Right click and then copy and then paste it here is equal to, I want to make it to 5. If you hit 5, see this? Now again I'm coming from the starting again. Now if you see, how would you do that? Docker stack ls, this is the first command, and then docker service, docker stack, docker stack voting underscore stack, docker stack ls voting underscore stack. Now, so what is the command? So docker stack ps voting underscore stack, voting underscore stack. Okay, see this? Docker stack ps voting underscore stack. If you see this, you're getting these many things are coming up. Okay, but there was another command, right? So docker service ps, if you want voting underscore stack, no such service called. Okay, so docker service, let me see what is the command. Scrolling up. Okay, one moment. Okay, this is the one. So docker stack ls, just type this, and then docker, then stack, then you have to type services, then you have to type voting underscore stack, the stack name. Okay, now we got it. Now if you see, we have got 5. Okay, now if you want to see docker, then service, then ps, then you have to type your service name, exact service name, copy and then paste as plain text, enter. Now you will see 5 things are running, and it is running on different things. Now if you go here, if you type docker ps again, see you got a couple of things, voting 3 things are running here. So this is how you have to scale an application from 2 to 5. Yeah, so very important. I just touched a little bit on this, but please go through some of the tutorials for the entire orchestration part, guys. Yeah, so that's all it for today on this video. Thank you so much.